What's an invention that's still around today but has lost sight of its original purpose? Play-Doh was supposed to be a wallpaper cleaner originally. Now it serves as a delicious appetizer. Wait, what? He's a Marine. There are several drugs that would make the list. Cocaine and Viagra for sure though. Heroin was originally advertised as an addiction-free alternative to opium. Oops. Oopsium. Electric pen by Edison are now tattoo machines. It's sure if this is correct, but the tattoo artist who did one of my tattoos told me the gun machine has not changed since invented. It's exactly the same since Edison invented it. Edit. So it's not a gun. It's a tattoo machine. My apologies to the artists out there. No foul intended. High-heeled shoes. They were originally for men and used for horse riding, as the heels were supposed to keep the feet more secure in the stirrups. Now, they're just fancy women's shoes, also used by butchers so they didn't stand in blood. Now I'm imagining my butcher in a fancy stiletto. Maybe it's been said already. Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper were originally marketed as medicine and health tonics. I believe Dr. Pepper's original name was something like Dr. Pepper's Health Elixir. Edited for spelling. Second edit. Holy cow. Came back to an amazing conversation. I'm trying to get to everyone's comments. I don't know if I can respond to everyone, but I'll at least leave a like. Irn Brew, a Scottish soft drink popular in the UK, was originally marketed as a health tonic because of the large amount of iron in the drink. In 1949 they had to stop calling it Irn Brew because of restrictions from the government on what could be marketed as having vitamins or minerals, and it became the legally distinct Irn Brew. Kleenex. Its original purpose was to act as insulation in gas masks during World War I. After the war, its parent company advertised it as a way to remove makeup. Edit. Added context for when this happened. Edit. Fixed my grammar. You savages. Tissues in general, started for blowing your nose, now used for blowing your load. I call them, downstairs, sneezes. Tissues for your cocksnot. Edit. I cannot wait to tell all my friends who hate it when I say, cocksnot, that it got me gilded on. Reddit. For every pipe cleaner that actually cleans a pipe, 500,000 get twisted into children's art projects. Bubble wrap. It was made to be a textured wallpaper. Wait, really? Yep. Now it's used for popping. 'Cause that's just what I'll do. One of these days these bubbles gonna pop all over you. MTV, aka Music Television, NTLC, or the Learning Channel. Not a lot of learning happening on that channel these days, unless you enjoy learning about the daily lives of morbidly obese people and idiots marrying morons from different countries in a matter of weeks. I remember when the History Channel had history shows. Viagra. It was invented as a blood pressure medicine. To be fair, it still does something with blood pressure. Edit. Gee willikers, my first gold. Thank you. Anywho, I learned more about Viagra causing BP problems than any part of it having to do with boners. Because of you guys. I recall seeing a news piece about a kid with a dangerous genetic defect that caused potentially fatally low blood pressure. He was taking Viagra as a treatment for that. The reporter asked him a question I couldn't imagine having handled with anything other than terminal embarrassment when I was his age. Essentially asking him what it was doing for his penis. The kid was cool, though. He just smiled slightly and said, "It doesn't fix what isn't broken." In the NICU, Viagra is often prescribed to help oxygenation and prevent pulmonary hypertension in premature infants. Very common med for critically ill babies. It's still used to treat a form of high blood pressure called pulmonary hypertension in both men and women. It's sold under another name, Revatio, for marketing purposes. Both Viagra and Revatio are the same drug. Sildenafil. Nalgene bottles, the plastic water bottles that are popular with hikers, campers, other outdoor Activity Folks were originally created for use as medical, scientific lab equipment as a lighter, shatterproof alternative to glass. They're still really good for that. In fact, my company gets many free samples of Nalgene beakers and bottles from salespeople every year, which I take home and use as diningware and sports bottles. Microwave transmitters were originally created to transmit radar signals in World War II. When a worker noticed that being near the transmitter melted a candy bar in his pocket, it led to the development of the microwaves that we use in our homes today. Listerine mouthwash used to be a floor cleaner. Edit. So Listerine is my most upvoted comment. I didn't see it going like this. My inbox exploded. Edit. I know I wasn't completely right, but it is a product that had a different purpose prior and created the mouthwash market in the first place. Probably why it burns the tip of my tongue. When I was in my early 20s I had my tongue pierced. Before they would pierce it I had to swish Listerine around my mouth for 2 full minutes. That pain was worse than the actual piercing. Superglue. I think it was originally an instant suture in med kits for soldiers in Vietnam. Edit. Holy cow y'all. Thanks for the silver. My first ever. The comments, and the further explanation of what superglue was supposed to be. I based my guess on the hard hat guy swinging from the I-beam commercial. Cyanoacrylate, active ingredient in superglue, is still used as medical glue. You can buy the medical grade stuff on Amazon. Edit. Since this is getting so much attention, I feel obligated to post a PSA reminding everyone to thoroughly clean and disinfect your wounds before gluing them shut. Edit 2. Thanks for the gold. Hitachi Magic Wand. It was originally intended as a massager. Phones. They're hardly used for making phone calls anymore. You beat me to it. I hardly ever make a phone call. I might as well call it my Reddit device. Menstrual pads. They were invented to soak up blood in bullet wounds. After the war, Kotex had several hundred tons left over and found that nurses had been using them as feminine hygiene. What did women use before pads were invented? Serious. It varied by time and place, but mostly rags. We get the expression, being on the rag, because, well, women in the 19th century used to do a lot of sewing. And leftover rags or old clothes would get used for cleaning, and the softer ones would be used to soak up menstruation. Around the end of the century, companies started selling cloth pads. The Kotex ones I mentioned were revolutionary because they were meant to be disposable rather than washed and reused. Go back further, and we don't really know. Women didn't do a lot of writing. There isn't a lot of writing by women that has survived. And men didn't care to mention it much other than demands for ritual bathing or herbs to keep the smell away. It's likely they did the same, but that's just an educated guess. Women in China had sand packed into cloth to soak up the blood. Would have been extremely uncomfortable but pretty absorbent. The sand would be thrown out and the cloth would be washed to use again. Pocket sand. Jägermeister used to be a cold medicine to help keep mountain climbers in the Alps warm. To be fair, it still can keep you warm and it still tastes like cold medicine. Not really an invention but IQ tests. They were never meant to figure out how smart you were. They were for identifying students who may need additional help. It totally was invented by a French teacher to help struggling kids. Then it moved to America where we ruined it. The Stanford Binet IQ test was developed for this. The creator of the American Wechsler IQ test promoted it for use in eugenics programs. Cereal. It was supposed to stop you from wanking if I'm not wrong. Edit. Cornflakes. Cornflakes has a massive cock on the box, and the cock's head is fully exposed at all times, just the way Dr. Kellogg wanted it. The funny thing is that Kellogg wasn't pro-circumcision. His preferred method was to sew the end of the foreskin shut with a metal wire and tie it so that the sharp points went inward so they would stab the head if he got an erection. When the medical board told him he wasn't allowed to do that anymore, he decided that circumcision without anesthetic would be a good enough punishment for being caught masturbating. He was actually anti-infant circumcision because he wanted the boys to be old enough to remember the pain. What the fuck? The cigar lighter in your car. It can't light cigarettes anymore. It's just a charging port. Edit. I didn't know you can still purchase the attachment that turns it into a functioning lighter. I stand by my comment though. It can be used for its original intended purpose, but that's no longer its common function. Some new cars in my country still have them. Or I just add one to the 12V port. To charge the phone I just slowly use the 5V USB port. Also a 2014 model still had ashtrays. The best man at a wedding was the best swordsman the groom could afford. If anyone objected to the wedding, the best man would duel Hi Monsieur. The honeymoon lasted a whole month after the wedding, where the bride's father would supply the groom with all the mead he could drink. Greater than all the mead he could drink. This marriage thing sounds like something I could try. Paintball guns. They were originally called paintball markers and were invented as a way for loggers and park rangers to mark trees for trimming, cutting down, etc., without having to walk up to each tree with spray paint or something. A couple of dudes who were using them started shooting at each other for fun, and paintball as a sport was born. In fact, some people still call them markers to avoid the stigma some associate with the word gun. History Channel, Discovery Channel, National Geographic Channel. Sad face. National Geographic still has interesting stuff, just not nature stuff. History Channel is conspiracy theories, and Discovery Channel alternated from how it's made to car, gold or lobster shows. The £. Edit for non-US folks. The hashtag, we used to call it the £. Sort of still do, but mostly on automated phone calls. Edit 2. I get it. Octothorpe. Duct tape, meant to cover holes in ammo boxes, so the ammo doesn't get wet. And now I use it to put my 1998 Camry back together so it runs for another 10 years. Cotton buds. Not meant for ears but for cleaning bacteria and removing dust. Cleaning bacteria. Hold still. Little streptococcus. I need to scrub you with this cotton swab. Edit. My first silver. Thank you. Edit number 2. Holy cats. Gold. I would like to thank all the little streptococci for the inspiration. Your car's indicator or blinker. It is supposed to let other drivers know your need to turn or change lanes. It is not intended to tell drivers to cut you off or close the gap. Additionally, the blinker is to be switched on in a timely fashion, and not as you're aggressively cutting someone off. Seriously, I always appreciate people who use their blinker, but if you're using it after the fact, then it just feels like a giant fuck you. Facebook was designed as a platform where college students could connect and stay in touch. Nowadays, virtually no college students use Facebook, and it's just a site full of fake news, divisive political opinions, and grandparents sharing content that was posted on Reddit 4 weeks ago. Facebook, where your grandparents go to become radicalized. The dashboard. Originally it was a literal board of wood used to protect people from mud and debris from when their horse-drawn whatever would travel at gallop speeds. Now it gives me information about my vehicle's current state and provides audio entertainment. Flat-headed screwdrivers. 1 a chisel. Grab the flathead. 1 to pry bar. Grab the flathead. 1 to scrap some shit off something. Grab the flathead. 1 to open some paint. Grab the flathead. 1 to scribe something. Grab the flathead. I've got a full set of the buggers. Can't remember the last time I say a flathead screw. I just changed out a dishwasher for our neighbor. I used my slot driver about 5 different times, and only removed 1 slot screw. Uber. It was supposed to be an app where you could hitch a ride with someone going the same place or in the same direction as you, with an option to pay for their time, inconvenience, This was a great idea since hitching a ride rather than ordering a taxi is better for the environment and would be cheaper as the driver presumably was going in that direction either way. Then it became a cheap taxi company with low standards and insurance problems. In addition, drivers working for Uber will now drive around picking up people to make money, destroying any chance of environmental benefits. Edit. A couple of comments mention Uber's start as a limo-type service. So I'll add that this has been my understanding of the concept of Uber and other similar services, when they let regular people become drivers. And as with so many things, the way it was explained to me has formed my understanding of it. If getting a cab ride were half as easy as Uber or Lyft, Uber and Lyft wouldn't be nearly as popular. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.